Okay, well, welcome into NZC Cast episode 2. Yes, that's right. We've got a second episode, and I'm excited to say they've even upgraded our studios. We've come up here to Auckland, to the Big Smoke, and I've also got a new co-host. Her name is Katey Martin from the White Ferns. Marty, welcome in, and great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Willy. It's a bit of a step up from Bolty, I hear. So sorry, Bolty, but I'll take your seat.
Well, is it a step up, or has it been a change on performance? I've seen you I've heard you behind the stumps, particularly, and many tours with you. So I've always thought this is something you could probably do, hosting a show. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, look, I love a bit of banter. It comes with the job as a keeper, so got to keep the girls on their toes out there, and obviously the batters as well. But I'll tell you what, catching behind the stumps with Bolty would be an absolute dream. So look, if you want Bolty, I'm here to take a few behind the sticks if you want. So just give me a bell.
Love it. Less than a minute into the show, Marty, and you're already doing throwouts, throwing down the challenges. I love that. Yeah, well, obviously, Marty, I was actually just going back through some research on you as my co-host. You actually first played in 2003. I cannot believe you've been around that long. You've also worked a full-time job through your whole career. I suppose this lockdown hasn't really been too much different for you. You're used to sort of working away through your time.
Yeah, look, it's been a wee while, and the team I've sort of been in and out throughout that time, and had the opportunity when I wasn't selected to build a career. So I guess I'm set pretty well for when I finish up. But I'll tell you what, the last few years have been an absolute dream, and I've loved it. And being full-time cricketer now, really, it's pretty exciting times to be part of cricket. So I feel very lucky. I was having a yarn to our trainer the other day, actually, and he said, "Oh, you've been around for a wee while." Because we've, obviously I've got ingrained technique in the gym over a wee period of time that's hard to break over the odd 20 years. So he's struggling a bit with that. But I was telling him, I got named in 2003. Mike Shrimpton was the coach at that time. And I said, I didn't even know I was in the team. And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, back in those days, my first tour, we had dial-up internet, which, some of the girls nowadays have no idea what that is. But we got sent out the team in an email. So didn't get a phone call, nothing, just an email. And I must have got sent out on the Friday, and I was at Lincoln at the time in the High Performance Centre with the New Zealand Cricket Academy, and turned up on the Monday, and Shrimp said, "Oh, congratulations." And I thought, geez, maybe I did pass that exam. I thought I was going to fail the old accounting exam for the second time. I said, "Oh, what are you talking about?" He said, "Oh, you've made the team to go to India." And he said, "Did you not get my email?" So I hurriedly checked my phone, and the team had got sent to junk mail, so I didn't even know I'd made the team for a couple of days. So these days you get phone calls from Bob, so I'm not sure what's better, email in the junk or a call from Bob.
It's a bit of a sign of the times, isn't it? And just to note for our viewers is if we do have any issues with the stream or the connectivity, it can actually probably fall back on you, can't it, Marty? Because your day job is with Computer Concepts Limited, who do the internet, among other things, and help us with the computers at New Zealand Cricket. So that'll be an awkward one for you if it does drop out.
Yeah, it is a wee bit awkward. Look, if it's a bit of a delay, it might be just me and you rather than the actual technology. So thanks for CSELF for keeping me employed and paying the check while I'm doing a bit of both. Absolutely.
And just quickly, Marty, how have you found the lockdown period? Obviously, you mentioned you're full-time cricketer now as well, so you've been juggling work and I suppose training and trying to keep physically and mentally active.
Yeah, we're about 3 weeks into our program back at the gym, so that's been pretty exciting. Got through lockdown all right. I had a couple of weeks before in isolation before the actual official lockdown after coming back from the World Cup. But look, it's been a bit of a dream. I've built a house at the back end of last year, so I've actually spent more than a couple of minutes in the house, so it's been really nice. But look, it's great getting back into it, and works really good with, allowing me to balance both, and it keeps me mentally fresh doing a bit of both. So look, I tell you what, I'm excited for cricket to get back on the tallies and get us back out in the park.
Absolutely, and I suppose also pretty excited about the rundown we've got for today's show. We've got, a teammate, a former teammate, and a bit of a rival as well from across the ditch, our first international guest, which we'll get to later on. But I can already see our first one. She's waiting in the wings, and it's a good mate of yours. We're going to open with a big gun on the show because I think that's the way you've got to start these ones. She's looked like she was battling with her technology to get her headphones on there before, but I'll just intro her, and I don't want to build her up too much, but she's played 100 games for the White Ferns in both ODIs and T20 internationals. She's consistently been ranked amongst the game's elite and holds numerous world records. She's a double international, an Olympian, and a proud Dunedinite. And I'm also told she's a pretty good singer in the changing rooms. Suzy Bates, welcome to the show. How'd you like that welcome?
Look, beautiful. Two of my faves, Marty and Willy. What a way to spend the cold. What night is it? Wednesday night. So thanks for having me.
I was actually telling Willy before that you moved into, or got a mortgage last year at Fairfield in Dunedin, and you put your sister in the house to pay for the mortgage while you've been away. So it's probably nice for you to be back and actually paying your way a wee bit.
Yeah, it was nice to have them in here while I was away, but since I've been back here, maybe it's not as nice that they're still here. No, it's been great. They just actually cooked some prawn fried rice tonight, my sister and her boyfriend, so I've quickly devoured that before coming on here. So they do a pretty good job at cooking. I'm not sure what I bring to the house, but that's okay.
Well, we'll tell you, Willy, Susie's got all the allergies under the sun, so there'll be no dairy, no certain milk, and it's the these days, Susie, you sort of have to keep an eye on yourself as you're getting a bit older.
Lucky I'm not allergic to sugar, but that'll be the next thing to go.
How have you found lockdown down there, Batesy? I mean, this would be the first time in a long time, I imagine, where you're setting up for a winter in your hometown. How's it been so far?
Initially, it was quite nice, the novelty of being at home, sleeping in my own bed for more than 2 weeks, just catching up with family and just doing things I don't normally get to do. But I reckon about the 6-week mark, that novelty of everything, the garage gym, the walking, was starting to wear off. But been back into the nets for the last couple of weeks, hitting some balls. So I feel like I'm back to my normal self. I love hitting balls, so that's been great. But yeah, it has been quite different. I think I took for granted this endless summers I had, and when it gets dark at 5 o'clock and gets cold and you sort of hunker down for the night, it can get a little bit depressing in Dunedin. But hey, it'll make me appreciate my summers playing cricket a bit more, I think.
I can absolutely imagine that. Now, Batesy, as your former media manager, obviously I was dropped from the White Ferns as media manager. I had to go across to the men's side, which was tough. And you might notice that I'm actually in a White Ferns shirt tonight. It's a really nice cut on me, which I enjoy. I'll reveal the player on my back shortly. But as your media manager, do you have your headphones? Where are they? You were wearing them at the start of the broadcast. What's going on?
Well, I had them in, and then you went silent, and I couldn't hear either of you, and I panicked. I was like, they're going to bring me in, and I'm not going to be able to hear you. So I refreshed. So I was trying to do all the right things, and the sound wasn't working in my headphones, so I just have gone. I made a decision, used my initiative, and I can hear you without them. Yeah, so sorry about that.
Yeah, that was all right. It looked like a panic. You came in and out of the broadcast. Obviously, this is live, but it's also pre-recorded. Do you want to have a crack at throwing them back in? We can obviously cut this little bit out. I think it might help for how you sound.
Okay.
Yeah, not saying that because you're any older than the rest of the players, you don't know how to do technology, but better. Can you got us?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, it's a dream, Suze.
Marty, airport control. You've got it loud and clear up there.
Yeah, I'm out by the airport here, Susie, so I've got to check in. Actually, one thing you might not know, Willy, Susie's going to come and spend a bit of time in Christchurch. So I've opened up the house for her to live here. I've got a dream coffee machine, but I've had to hire a cleaner because she's obviously a little bit OCD on the cleaning, and I'm kind of the complete opposite. So I don't know if it's going to be a match made in heaven, but we'll see how it goes. She might be playing for Canterbury next year, or I might be.
Said to pay the rent, there'll be no playing for Canterbury ever, but I said to pay the rent, I could do the cleaning, because I know you need cleaning up after. If you'd ever seen Willy, you would have seen the changing room in Katey Martin's corner. Disgrace.
Yeah, no, I could absolutely vouch for that, as can her father, Steve Martin, who's told me about that back in the younger days. And that's where I want to take you to. The younger days, I mean, yeah, both Dunedinites both play with each other through the grades. Can you remember the first time you came across each other?
Well, Suzie, you know, she's an absolute treat. She is the queen of Dunedin, the mayor of Dunedin, as a number of people have put her. But I remember Suzie when she was younger, she had the pigtails, absolutely known for her pigtails. And probably about the under 14 grade, I think we played in Timaru as the first tournament we had together. And Suzie, amazing hand-eye coordination, and it took a long time for you to sort of get a bit more of cricket technique. I know Mike Trimpton had a bit more involvement with that as you got a little bit older, but yeah, she had these pigtails and she ran in and she was just a little bit uncoordinated at times, a little bit of, you know, as Joe, your mum would say, you know, burning off the baby fat a wee bit. Some of us still wouldn't, but, you know, we'll deal with that. Yeah, Suzie, one day she didn't wear a hat, and you still don't wear a hat. TV games, Willy, as you know, the hair straighteners are on in the changing room. Susie's out there getting the straighteners done just so she looked, you know, well, she's not captain now. She's sort of eased up a bit on that. But, yeah, she had her pigtails on, absolutely sunburned at a tournament, got straight down the seam of the piggies, got sunburned. From that point on, she had to put her hair up, the coach said. But I'll tell you what, she was 16 at that point, so it took her a long time to give up the old pigtails. That's my memory of you.
Yeah, well, okay. The pigtails, true story. It took a while to let go of the pigtails. Chubby, true story. I was a bit of a chubby kid. But the hat, I always wear a hat in the sun. I just don't wear a hat at nighttime because it's not sunny. So I'm very responsible. Skin cancer and things these days. Always wear a hat. But with my pigtails, I couldn't physically wear a hat, so that wasn't my fault. They didn't design a hat with 2 holes out the side. But yeah, we did play a lot of cricket, and you know, like I try to act cool these days in front of the young kids, but Marty knows that back in the day I was not cool at all, so she likes to bring those stories up just to, you know, bring me back down to earth in front of the young cool kids these days.
Does it feel like it's gone pretty quick, guys? I mean, as you say, you're both coming to that other end of your career now. Does it feel like just yesterday that you were making your debuts and breaking onto the scene, or what does it feel like, Marty?
Yeah, look, Suzie and I have had a lot of conversations about, I mean, I'm obviously a little bit older than Sue, so I sort of talked to her about when I'm going to give up, and apparently we've got this deal that I can't retire until Suzie does, and you might not know, but she's got a home gym getting set up in the garage at home, and so life after cricket, Susie's planning for. So I'm not sure we have these conversations every couple of months about how long we're going to stick around for. So I'm in the long haul until Susie's finished up. But look, I feel very fortunate to play with Suzie for such a long period of time. And she did break my heart at one period where, you know, the dream of the Olympics sort of took hold a wee bit, and she gave up cricket for a year or so for basketball, and it was a bit of a sad moment for me. Oh, is it you cutting out there, Suzie?
Oh, cut out. That's all right. We can.
Yeah, so it's an absolute dream playing. You there, mate?
Oh, can you?
I can't hear you. I've lost you.
I thought you were taking the piss, did you?
Yeah, I was thinking, bad story. I can't hear you. I don't care. I'll come back over then.
Geez, Willy, that top looks pretty good on you. I hear it's one of the White Ferns tops. Who have you got on there, mate?
Yeah, no, great segue, Marty. I've actually got,
Oh, Tahuhu.
Yeah, Leah Tahuhu, fastest women's bowler in the world. And I'm sure it's a great honour to have me in it, you know, fastest talker at New Zealand cricket. But actually a really nice fit, Marty. I can see why this is great. Look at right on the inside there.
Suits well. It fits around the hips like our tops do. So look, mate, if you want to have a start, we can chuck a ponytail on the back and get you out there and bowl a few. Actually, I did hear the story that you bowled a few in duckers to Suzy Bates, and she struggled a wee bit, and you've got through those gates quite a few times. So I hear you're a bit of a bunny, eh?
I've got through those gates. Well, maybe just once, but it was before we were playing. You guys were playing against England. Anya Shrubsole, big shout out. I was having to actually imitate her those innies, and I certainly wasn't bowling as heavy as she does. But yeah, that was great. The 142 also good change when you're used to bowling the slightly bigger ones. So these little hands really enjoyed it. And thanks for that segue, Marty. Let's bring it back in. Batesy, welcome back.
Are you happy with how this is going?
Yeah, you're on. Yeah, I'm happy with how this is going, by the way, Marty. You're on your last warning, Bates. You'll be kicked out again if you can do that. Now, I've got a special...
It just cuts out, like completely stops.
Yeah, I wonder if that's... Did you buy the real AirPods or the cheapy ones?
No.
Spent too much time in India with it.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's the damn internet in Dunedin and the weather.
Don't they also stop working at like -10 degrees? Is that a problem down that way?
Probably. It is very cold tonight.
Well, that's important because I want you to be able to hear the next bit because and if you guys have been watching the NZC Cast, which I'm sure you have, we like to somehow go doing a bit of digging around, find the backstory amongst you guys, and I've dug this one up from someone who you're going to know, Susie. I'm going to play it. Let me know if you can't hear it. I hope you enjoy it if you can.
Hey, Suze. It's your bro Henry here. It's just a little message on behalf of the family on just how proud we all are of you. It has certainly been amazing watching your success over the years, not just at cricket, but anything you've tried your hand to. But to become one of the world's best cricketers is an amazing achievement, and the longevity of your career even more so. I recall a line from the ODT recently suggesting you'd played for Otago for over half your life. And while that certainly made me feel old, it's a testament as to just how long you've been at the top of your game. Being a sporting mad family, pretty much all of my memories growing up involved backyard cricket or knee rugby or basketball. And it's certainly been a pleasure following you around the world in your sporting endeavours, from the Olympics in 2008 to England, to Australia, and even to Molyneux Park. Mum and Dad have gone even further afield, and I know how special that is for them too. But probably one of the coolest things to watch in the last few years is seeing how you've helped women's cricket grow in New Zealand. The game has changed massively, and to watch youngsters and young girls aspire to be White Ferns and see the way you interact with them is pretty cool. I also understand Katey Martin's on the podcast, and I used to play with and against Katey back in the day, and it's been a real pleasure watching two Dunners girls be successful on the world stage, and I hope to catch up with Katey and also have a yarn to her father Steve on the bank sometime soon. Lockdown did provide a bit of a silver lining with Dad going through his old VCR tapes and finding some comic gold of the family in our younger days. I have flipped on a clip of Suzy batting in a torrid backyard battle against her brother Tom. Just lastly, like to say once again how very proud we all are of you, Suzy. Hopefully we will see you back on the park sometime very, very soon. And stay warm down there in Dunners in what's probably your first winter for a very long time. See ya.
The memories there.
Prepare me for that, Willy.
Wow, obviously, watch the boys podcast. We got them, you know. Your turn now.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, I think as a family, we like to give each other a bit of grief most of the time. So it's nice to hear Henry a bit emotional there, actually. Like, they were a huge part, my brothers, of why I got into sport and why I'm so competitive. So, look, they say they taught me everything I know, but that's partly true, just the way they showed me how to play cricket in the backyard. And yeah, Tom used to sledge me more than anyone in women's cricket ever has, so he prepared me well. But yeah, that was very cool. I'm sorry about some of the photos, but he's dug deep for those.
I'll tell you what, a pretty special memories. That I did say that you'd had pigtails and you're a little bit chubby as a kid, so that was, some evidence of that. But look, I tell you what, Suze, you'll go down as, in my opinion, as the greatest female cricketer New Zealand's ever produced. And I'll tell you what, as a friend of yours for many, many years, probably, more than say some of the people in our team at the moment these days, that is pretty proud to be playing with you for such a long period of time. And I'll tell you what, I think your average in the international cricket's better than the one at the Spark, so that's saying something. So look, I'm pretty proud of you, mate. And I'll tell you what, we have some good banter out in the field, and it was good to see you with those keeping gloves on there. And I know there was a time, Willy, I went off we were playing against ND, and Susie was quick to put her hand up, I'll keep. So I was off for 2 hours. Susie didn't want to come. Susie said, no, you can't come back. I'm having so much fun. So, I've already got dropped off the keeping for Susie. But, like I say, pretty proud moment, Suze. I've seen a few of those photos too. So it's pretty entertaining to see your glasses too back in the day, mate. Your eyesight's improved these days.
Good stuff, Jeff. Thanks, Mardo. Well, you are my banker in the team. You have to have one person in the team that you go to. That's why you can't retire, because I won't, have anyone to go get my coffees and, do all those little things.
It is true. It is true. And is you anyone's banker? No, that's right. Don't worry, you don't need to answer.
Yeah, I'm your
Oh,
banker.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
for all each other's bankers. Batesy, just want to, for those who don't, so you've got two brothers, haven't you? Tom and Henry, and then obviously your sister Olivia as well, who's gone on and played professional netball. How big was your upbringing, do you think, in making you the professional sports woman that you've become?
Yeah, like obviously growing up, there weren't necessarily clear opportunities to be professional, so it was probably never really about that. It was just we love sport. Dad was a tennis coach, and we all started in tennis, but I think we all enjoyed the team sports more. But Olivia, I think being the youngest, was a bit of the rebel child, wanted to do everything different. So netball was probably the only sport that the three of her older siblings hadn't played. So she became a very good netballer and played for the Steel. So look, we've just always had each other to have battles with in the backyard, whether it was basketball, cricket, a little bit of soccer even back in the day. So yeah, definitely a huge reason why I even got into sport in the first place. And I just remember going on a Saturday to watch my brothers play cricket, and I'd much rather be playing than watching. So that's the reason I got into cricket especially. So yeah, it's pretty special to have them still follow me, and they all came to the Olympics, which was probably the proudest moment that I've had, just my big brothers coming and getting to watch their little sister.
Yeah. I'll tell you, on the Olympics, yeah, sorry, you go.
Marty. Oh, well, yeah, that's the classic lag, and they got him. I'll go, then you go, and then we might even bring in the Aussie guest, so I want you to stay on for Batesy. But is there any truth to the rumour that the way your driveway was shaped, that was for the cut shot, or is that someone passed on to them, and that's why you're so strong through there? Is that true?
That is the full truth. That actually came up this week because Rob Walter, the vaults coach, has kindly invited me along to some of their trainings, and he kept throwing these full half volleys, and I kept going on the back foot, and I said, I'm sorry, Rob, it was how I was brought up. I had this L-shaped, we had like a thin just pathway, and you had to late cut it behind point, L-shaped, to get it for 4. So if you hit it in front of point, you just hit the house. So I blame that shot, which has scored me a lot of runs, but also got me out a lot on my backyard setup.
Hey, I don't know if you know, Willy, but there's not many women's cricketers that have hit their own stumps, but Susie's done a good couple of times in the Big Bash. So it's a pretty common way to get her out, is her knocking her own sticks over. But she did get I know you tell the story about when you played Brisbane Heat, Susan, and one of the Brisbane Heats girls, it was their birthday, and they said that you could cut the cake because you could cut anything. So is there any truth to that story?
There is. It's the best sledge. I actually laughed out loud. So the whole off spinner, Grace Harris, who loves the chat and can say the weirdest things at times, but I've cut probably every single ball she bowled, even if it was hitting leg stump. And then after the game, it was one of the girls' birthdays, and they brought in a cake, and she goes, oh, Batesy will cut it. She's cut everything else all day. And I just thought it was hilarious.
Marty, does that mean that you must have had a big area sort of over deep cover over your house? Is that why you've developed that shot? What was your backyard setup like?
Yeah, I did actually. We did have the extra cover. I couldn't cut because there was a greenhouse in behind, so I didn't want to have to pay for replacing the window. So it was definitely a bit wide extra cover for me.
Batesy, the 2 sports that you did play, basketball was potentially your first love. I know you've been right into The Last Dance, called Jordan documentary. Can you talk to us about your love of the round ball game?
Yeah, cricket's obviously my first love, but I don't know. I just love basketball. It was what I did in the winter. Played cricket in the summer. My brothers, once again, were really into it. My oldest brother Tom loved the Chicago Bulls, so I just sort of tagged along watching them. But yeah, it was probably just more opportunities in New Zealand that kept me in cricket more than loving one more than the other. It was just the opportunities that came about which kept me in cricket, and I'm glad I did, because it's become women's cricket, being professional around the world, has been pretty cool to be a part of.
Tia, there's a great yarn going on about I heard that you partied with the Dream Team. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this, Suze, or if what happens on tour stays on tour.
Yeah, it's probably the highlight of my life. Still, I have a few regrets because I was not about 19 or 20 and I was very shy and just like couldn't, string any sentences together. I get a little bit shy sometimes. And yeah, we got invited to party with the USA basketball team. I'm not sure how. I think some of the girls had just talked to their security, and next minute we were on this bus going to an outdoor rooftop party with the dream team, and David Beckham was also there. And that's all I can remember, really.
You sure you're happy you didn't want to? You sure you're happy with your change? The basketball sounds pretty glitzy and glammy.
Well, I feel like that was like the pinnacle for me. Like there was no further I could go, so I was happy to call it a day.
Yeah, well, speaking of, it is only our second episode, but she is our first international guest ever to join the show, and we thought we'd double right down and would go for our next door neighbours, the Australians, and we've gone with a world record holder, we've gone with a world champion, and apparently she can also spin a pretty decent yarn behind the stumps and golf pretty well. Let's bring in Australian wicketkeeper Elisa Healey. Welcome to the show, all the way from Australia.
Hello, everyone.
I would have
Susie, I feel like we've been on way too much of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Did you think we'd get away with the winter not hearing her banter, Suze? Because I was hoping for that, but obviously, what can you do?
I
heard I was requested, so I thought I'd just jump on board and help the little cousins over the ditch.
Yeah, well, Susie and I aren't world champs, so we probably are the little cousins, aren't we, Suze? Maybe until next year, give it a go.
All I'm going to tell you is all this time, just underarms at my front pad.
We'll have to find other ways then.
How's over there, Alyssa?
Yeah, it's been interesting times, there's no doubt you guys are fully aware of. But look, I think the country seems to be bouncing back pretty well. I've been fairly guilty. I've enjoyed the COVID break probably way more than everybody else has. Time at home for me, and this household is rare, so I've really enjoyed being at home and just doing normal people things. And don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to getting back into cricket, but I got a taste of retired life, and it's looking pretty good.
I was telling Willy that you're pretty handy on the golf course. I think even your husband struggles to beat you on the golf course, which is a bit embarrassing for him, but we won't say that. Don't show him this video. How's the golf been going? You managed to get a few rounds in?
Yeah, way too many rounds. I felt like going into the break that I could really make some improvements in my golf, and I made a few changes and I've gone backwards. So it's been a really good use of my downtime, but I'm on the improve now and starting to see some results, which I'm happy about. But it's just nice to be able to get outside and play. We were supposed to come to New Zealand actually in April and down in Queenstown and play some of those beautiful courses. So I'm looking forward to hopefully doing that again sometime soon when we're allowed.
Susie, you've been playing a bit of golf, haven't you, in your downtime? I've seen you play, and you are a bit of a hacker. So you guys might not want to play. You might need to caddy for Mitch, Suze.
Yeah, I've played a bit of golf. I've actually just enjoyed the time out on the golf course. The outcome's been irrelevant. It's all been about, spending time with my dad, Marty, and I reckon I've made some small improvements. But yeah, I don't know if I'd be getting out on the course with Midge just yet. Well, her and Sophie can compete.
It's an all abilities game. It doesn't really matter if you've got a handicap, if you don't have a handicap. I reckon getting out there and giving it a crack is the most important thing. That sounds very cliche, but I reckon it's really cool.
Just a quick one from me, Alyssa. Midge as the nickname, it's absolutely nailed on. Even your media manager just said, yeah, you can have 20 minutes with Midge. I mean, as a fellow small person, have we just embraced that nickname? What's the story?
Well, yeah, it stuck for me. It was one of those nicknames that your dad gave you when you're a small child. And unfortunately for me, when I was growing up playing soccer, so there was an Alicia, 2 Alexes, and someone else with an AL name. And the coach was pulling his hair out and asked my dad, is there anything else that you call her? And he said Midge, and this was about under 9s. And I played soccer with a lot of people I played cricket with, and it stuck. So I think more people are afraid of getting my first name wrong, so they just stick with Midge. It's a lot easier.
Suzie was telling a wee bit of a story, and I'll tell. Suzie was quite a handy tennis player, Midge, and back in the day in our age group, she was playing against a former New Zealand. I won't say a ranking because you'll probably, people might work out who it was, but it's back in the day when you had to call your own outs on the line, and unfortunately, Suzie was up, got called out when it was in. Suzie, her tennis career fell over from that point, but I was saying to Suze, actually, she does get a bit of rub of the green with the umpires, and I know that you've got a strong opinion of Suzie and how many white balls have hit the front of the pad, middle, and not been given out. And I was just wanting to prove that, Suzie does not get the rub of the green at times on the tennis field, on the tennis court. But I think a few on the cricket field. Would that be right?
Oh, look, it's a bit of a running joke, and I'm glad that I actually shared it with Suzie. I think it became a bit of an inside joke here in the Aussie side, but we went over to India for the that IPL sort of challenge over there, and I'd had a few glasses of Indian wine, which didn't sit too great, and ended up spilling the beans and showed her actually a roll of footage of all the balls that have hit her front pad that have been given not out. Kathy Cross was standing at one end, so I don't know what's going on there, but I don't think to be fair to her, I don't think we've hit her on the front pad a lot of late, so we'll have to find some other ways to get her out. But it's hilarious, and I'm glad that you fully embrace it because it is pretty funny.
There was a few that were, a little bit close to call, but I was the captain at the time, and, you've got to get some advantages playing at home.
Sounds like all part of the friendly rivalry. I suppose there's a real good chance we all could be playing against each other. Well, you girls, not me. With the new bubble and whatnot, is that an exciting prospect, Marty, from your perspective? And then we'll go across.
Yeah, look, I think we're all hanging out to get back and playing cricket, and I think we've got such an awesome rivalry with Australia. I sort of talked at the World Cup. We tend to get up against Australia probably more than other teams because we're so desperate to beat them, and it's been such a long period of time and so many heartbreaks for us. And I think every Rose Bowl we reflect on those heartbreaks. But look, it's great rivalry, and as you can see, we get on pretty well on and off the field. And apart from Mitch, she's has a few yarns, but all friendly nature. So looking forward to getting over there hopefully in September and bringing back that Rose Bowl, which is well overdue. You must be excited to see us, Mitch.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. So I think there was a lean run there a couple of seasons where we didn't get to play Rose Bowl, and in my opinion, I think we love beating the Poms. It's a huge rivalry for us, but that Rose Bowl series I think is one of the most hotly contested series on our schedule. So the fact that they're back in the schedule I think is really cool, and obviously leading into a big home World Cup for you guys, I think they're going to mean more than ever. So like you said, I think the rivalry is definitely there on the field, but the ability to go and have a beer after the game and shoot the breeze, so to speak, I think is really special, and that's something unique that we share, Australia and New Zealand. And hopefully come the World Cup we can share the final together, and see who ends up on top.
I've got a few photos that I want to show the group that I've sort of done my research. This is, I believe, a New Zealand golf course, actually. You mentioned golf there before, and your husband, Mitchell Stark, a place you like to come?
Yeah, well, we did the North Island, I think 2 or 3 years ago for our wedding anniversary, and this year we're supposed to do the South Island and go down to Queenstown. So it is definitely a place we love to visit. We tossed up even buying a holiday home over there, and it's somehow cheaper than traveling within our own country at times. So the North Island courses were beautiful, and I'm looking forward to hopefully coming over and doing the South Island. But I can't remember which course that is. It's probably Curry Cliffs, I think. Yeah. But Tara Edie is hands down my most favourite course I've ever played. So hopefully I get the opportunity to go back and play.
Cool. And you guys have a little trophy you play for, is that right?
Yeah, it is actually. It's behind me. It's like up on the trophy cabinet right there, sitting prior to place. Mitch has it from last year, but I'm ahead this year, so hopefully it stays that way.
Where does that sit on the World Cup trophies and the medals and stuff like that? It's got to be up there.
Well, funnily enough, if you can see behind me, so you've got there's some ICC awards at the top, and it sits on the next level. So there's like Belinda Clark awards and stuff on that, and the Steely Cup sits right in the middle there. So it's literally sitting in the middle of our trophy cabinet, which is sad.
The next photo, this is 2010, which I think is pretty pretty early in your international career. Batesy and Katey, can you remember Midge coming on the scene?
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I definitely can. She batted a bit lower down the order, but she certainly still gave it a whack. So we were hoping that she'd stay further down the order for a bit longer, but she managed to secure the opening spot and it's been dangerous ever since. So yeah, she's just, you could see that she had a bit about her when she first played, and obviously having a famous uncle and all of that, we were well aware of who she was.
I didn't average too many, so I don't know what you were worried about.
I'll tell you what, though, you did.
You looked like you could.
I looked the part. That's all that matters.
You got out to mid off a few times, so we banked on that, but obviously you worked on that, so it was a bit of a shame. But no, I think over the last few years, you sort of the player for the big occasion. I know, obviously at the World Cup, you performed, pretty well to say the least, and it must have been an incredible experience at the World Cup, and 80,000 plus fans there.
Oh, it was unbelievable, and playing home World Cups is very rare, and for us to I guess handle that pressure probably not as well as what we would have hoped. It wasn't a smooth sailing. I'm not saying that we were going to win it smoothly at any point, but we were desperate to get into that final, and obviously the talk of the 90,000 people there, we wanted to be a part of that, and honestly we knew that we needed to be there to sort of make that happen. So to get there and then to walk out on the MCG, I know that Suzie, I think you were there, to experience that was something incredibly special. And I feel sad for you guys that it came down to that last pool game for one of us to go through. It would have been something really special if it was Australia, New Zealand. But look, an unbelievable experience, and I hope that it's not the last time that we get to see that. I think there's some girls in our group that hopefully we'll get to see that again, whether it be overseas or here in Australia. And just even to see the results that came out, I think yesterday, about the fans' engagement in sport for female teams were at the top of the list as to how the fans sort of reacted to them. So it was us, the Matildas, the netball team, and someone else I've forgotten, which means the fans are really engaging in women's sport here, and hopefully it's not the last, and hopefully there's a few more of those occasions to come.
Batesy, you would have no doubt enjoyed that, especially a bit of Katy Perry at the end. I know you love us singing a dance.
To be fair, I woke up that morning and I had planned to go, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I was a little bit like, oh, yeah, maybe this is going to be a bit lame, and I was sort of being a bit of a downer. We caught up at the Duke of Wellington with the other Kiwis, but then as soon as I remember, we walked from the Duke across the bridge, and it was, for me, it was like going to a men's cricket World Cup game or going to a rugby game in Dunedin in the good old days when hordes of people were just walking to the stadium. And I just remember thinking, how cool is this? This is to go to a women's cricket game. And I just, after that, I got over myself and pretty much enjoyed the day. I was so jealous of them on the stage with Katy Perry. That was probably the hardest thing to watch. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool.
I would say, Willy, Suzie was up in the corporate box because Suzie, and I was standing at the back. We managed to get some tickets from the Aussie girls, which was great. And I remember seeing you on the sideline, Midge, and I'm a bit pedantic about my warm-ups, and so is Suzie. And I think it was about 20 minutes to go before you were going out to open the batting, and you're on the sideline singing and dancing to Katy Perry. It must have been an unreal experience.
Yeah, I just wanted to soak it all in, and I remember standing there. I think I was next to Shooter and Pez, and I think Georgia Wareham as well. And Pez turned to me and said, "Mid, you've got 15 minutes until you have to open the batting for Australia. Do you not need to go and pad up?" And I was like, "Oh!" And I had to run down the stairs and get padded up. I was just soaking in the entertainment. It was cool. Even sitting there, I was sitting in the dugout. I finished my warm up. It only takes about 10 minutes. Sitting there, and the broadcasters flashed to the lines of people still trying to get in the MCG, and it was just surreal. And then by the time we got out there, it was just an amazing atmosphere. And obviously, you guys contributed that, so thanks. But it was just it was surreal, and hopefully we get to do it again.
We're great at giving, don't worry, Aces.
Well, funnily enough, wasn't there an ex-Kiwi player wearing an Australian shirt that day? Should we name and shame? Or?
Yeah, I think
she was at the Duke of Wellington. That's all I'll say.
And we have got our next guest, former White Ferns wicketkeeper Rebecca Rolls, who's exactly on time. She's waiting in the wings. I'll get through a couple of photos and then we'll bring her in. But talk us through this one, Marty.
Oh, yeah, probably stumped again, I'd say, no doubt. I don't know where that was. Was that to World Cup? Yeah, well, that was a poor form. That was, we didn't make it out of the group phase. Actually, that's been a few times of late. So, look, to be fair, I've got a stump at the T20 World Cup in West Indies as well. And, I've got it's been a few too many times. Going. More times than Susie's been hitting the front pad. I've got out. Oh, there we go. Suzie.
Is that out?
I remember that one.
Is it out?
What's that one?
Yeah, that was out. That was in Mount Maunganui in the Rose Bowl.
That was the last time we played there. It was Willy, and I'm her bunny now, so now playing with her at strikers, she just gives me these ones in the nets.
Oh dear.
Good flexibility there, though.
You did try real hard to get back, but the bail's already off.
And you mentioned playing strikers there. Just a quick wrap up, guys, on the Big Bash, and I suppose it's kind of been the equivalent to what the men have with the IPL in terms of bringing a lot of international players together. Has it been good for the women's game?
I can speak on our behalf. 100% it has. I think we really enjoy having the best international players in our domestic competition. I think it's definitely the best domestic league in the world, and hopefully we can keep attracting the best players, because it's only going to improve our cricket, and I think it's only going to improve the individuals that come and play, and obviously them taking that back to their different associations as well. So it's been great for us, and hopefully it is for you guys as well.
Yeah, no, I can vouch for that. I think just having a competition that's as good, if not better, at times in terms of the depth and the teams as international cricket, and to play in that competition week in and week out, and any team can beat anyone, especially I think in the last couple of seasons. It's I just love going over there and playing such competitive cricket, and having access to a lot of their coaches and resources has helped us a heap, and also realising once you play with some of the Australians, they're not as bad as you perhaps once thought, and we can share a drink after the game and see that we're all just all out there doing the same thing and trying to be as good as we can be, but also trying to put across a good product. So I've loved it, and hopefully with this bubble, this Trans-Tasman bubble, we can get out there again with the Big Bash.
Definitely.
Well, on that lovely note, I think we'll say thank you very much for joining us. I can't believe that the girls sledged you when you first got on, when it was us who asked you to come on our show, but you've been brilliant. Thanks, Alyssa. We really appreciate your time, and all the best. We hope to see you soon.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate.
And great work, guys. That's our first, cross-Tasman, trans-Tasman interview. We're doing well. How are the energy levels in Christchurch and in Dunedin?
I feel great because I feel like I'm part of this wicket keepers club.
Well, let's see if that continues to our next guest, because she's waiting in the wings. She's a wicket keeper herself. Another double international like yourself, Suzie. She's won a Cricket World Cup. She's been to 2 Olympic Games, and she's done all this while she was pursuing a career in the police. And so it's no surprise to see that she arrived on time, perfectly on time, even a minute early there. She is now the General Manager, Audit Integrity and Risk at the Department of Corrections, New Zealand. She sits on the New Zealand Cricket Players Association board and holds a role as the New Zealand Cricket Code of Conduct Commissioner. So I'm even a little bit scared of her. And let's bring her in. It's former White Ferns wicketkeeper Rebecca Rolls. Welcome, Rollsy.
Hey guys, how you going?
Yeah,
that's some impressive homework, Willy. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Good to see you all.
And you wonder after you reel all that off why we're all being intimidated with Rollsy. Listen to that.
Yeah, I guess it sounds a bit weird when you say it like that, but yeah, I'm not that scary. You guys know that.
Batesy, you actually singled yourself out as the non-keeper then when we were all clapping as keepers, and you were just given the old fielder's clap. So I think just as quickly as you are, you're out of the club. Rebecca, when I run through your career like that, does it feel like a long time ago now that and you're in these other various roles?
Yeah, I guess it does, weirdly, but I don't know. We because cricket's all around the place now, and there's so much to see, and watch. I don't know, I never feel too far away from it, if I'm honest. I do a little tiny bit of coaching, and I always, get the bat, if I can, and use that. But it's a long time ago. I mean, it's such great memories for me, but I'm really good to see what the game's got to these days.
I tell you, this is pretty common, isn't it, Suzie, amongst our girls, when we get asked about who, I guess, was the Miss Generation player of nowadays, it was always Rebecca Rolls. You were sort of born before your time. And, I know you've spoken to us a number of times in the White Ferns about, you wish you played 2020 cricket or T20 cricket, and it was sort of made for you. You must feel like you're probably, I'm sure, fit enough to get the pads back on, the gloves back on, and get out there.
Maybe the batting gloves, Marty. Yeah, I'll leave the keeping gloves to you, because I'm not sure if I could bend over, I could get back up again. But I think every cricketer wants to be born 20 years earlier. You guys will be the same, I guarantee, in time. It's funny, when I was playing, I was probably branded a bit irresponsible, and now, if I was playing now, I'd probably be exactly what people want to see. So, I'll take before my time, but also, it's just such a good spectacle now, and I think, the short boundaries, great bats, a lot more going for it, and just such an exciting spectacle, and something girls everywhere want to get involved in, which is different than when I was your age or when I was a kid. I think I played 2 T20 internationals, so I'll take that. Back when we didn't really know how to play them, when it was skip the middle bit and we'll do the start and the end, and then but obviously it's very different now. So, and it's still evolving, which is pretty exciting.
I have a bit of a confession. I did try to get Rosie to play for the Sparks. Tried to make
You're still trying.
Convince her. I'm still trying. There's still a spot if you want. We can hide you in the field. You can go off if you want. Just score some runs, whack it. Yeah. So the offer's still out there.
Oh, great. It's so good to know, actually, because sometimes there's nothing more I like more than just going to the net and have a bash. But Sparks have a pretty good team now, so I doubt I'd get in.
Suze, you obviously opened, I think, with Rosie. Is that right, when you first came in, or better at least high up in the order with her? What are your memories of coming into the team? Such a player.
Yeah, so when I first got picked, I think my first game I batted at number 9. I was picked as a bowler. Not sure if I bowled or not, but I was there with my little dibbly dobbly seamers. And then maybe 2 or 3 games. It was one of the games against India. I think we'd already won the series, and Steve Jenkins just read out the team, and it was Rolls, Bates, and I think I just about coughed in the meeting. Thought he was joking. And sort of freaked out, to be fair. Like, I don't think I'd opened the batting at school girl cricket even. I was always sort of a number 3, but he wanted us to kind of make the most of the power play. Back then, sort of 50 over cricket, it was quite, he was excited about having Rosie and I just bash it in the first 10. I think I got 4 in the first game, and then I had my highest score of 69 for a while in my second game opening. I just remember batting at Lincoln, which was a belter, and batting with, Rebecca Rolls, Emily Drum, Hayley Tiffin at the time. They were some of the players that I just watched in domestic cricket and thought were amazing. I didn't think I was quite at that level just yet, so it was nice to get a score early on.
I remember that.
Yeah, you'll remember this one though, Rosie. So I think, what's your highest domestic score, Suzie? 170, 80?
Oh, I remember that. I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was next into bat. I was always next into bat behind Bates. So I was sitting on the side, and the ball's gone down leg side. Rosie, beautiful take, stumps off. I've got up off my chair, ready to go out. Not out. Suzie might have been on single-digit figures. Has gone on to score the highest score in domestic cricket, which hasn't been surpassed to date. And I tell you what, Rosie hasn't been as grumpy as she is at that point in time.
We lost the game, though.
We did lose the game.
Rosie came out and scored about 100 off 60, and I bowled the last over, and we lost.
Karma.
Yeah, it's just one of those, you'll know this, Marty. Some of your best keeping work, and you look up and the umpire's kind of giving it that one, and no, can't be out. I wasn't watching, so.
Have you stumped each other in a game before? That's what my other research told me, Rosie.
You might not remember this, Rosie, but obviously when I was a bit younger, I was a little bit. Yeah, we were playing at Carers. Well, your keepers know when they stump keepers, especially down leg side. We were at Carisbrook, so Dream Ace was playing at Carisbrook, and Claire Taylor was bowling, romper, and she bowled one down leg side, and it's the best I think it's the best stumping I've ever taken in my life. Saw the ball, must have moved beautifully well, obviously. Saw the ball right in, took the bails off, Rosie stumped down leg side. And anyway, I come out to bat, and obviously Rosie had a few words to me because, you might not know, but Rosie was unavailable for New Zealand, and that's how I made my debut. Thanks, Rosie, appreciate it. And I come out to bat, and next thing you know, my foot slipped out, gone down leg side, stuck from Rosie. She's like, see you later. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I do remember that. It was quite good because somehow I didn't actually get stumped a lot because I never left my crease. I just like to get on one knee and sweep it because of that. But I do remember that one thing. Fair play.
I love that. I've been doing, you mentioned my research before, Rebecca. I really appreciate you mentioning that. I have put together some photos from the glory days. I hope you can remember some of these ones at least. Let me just get it up. I'm trying to run all of that. Can you see that one there? I think Australia, the team you scored both your centuries against, if I'm correct.
That's right. Yeah, we one was at Lincoln, which I think that looks like there, and then another one in Chennai, in India, a lot later. So yeah, you had to work hard for those runs against them. That's for sure. Yeah, '99. I think we won the Rose Bowl because we played it in Fitzherbert Park in Palmerston North. We played 2 games there, and that was a belter. And thankfully, Aussie didn't expect New Zealand to have a really fast outfield, so we managed to get on top of them then. And then we'd won, and the third game got rolled for about 50 at the Basin Reserve, but we don't really talk about that too much. So yeah, but that was leading into the World Cup. So yeah, it was a good side.
And here's the World Cup picture, iconic picture. Marty, Batesy, your memories of that before we go back to Rosie to talk us through that great catch, the big moment.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was. You go, Sus.
Sorry. I remember watching on TV, and I'd never seen women's cricket on TV, and I just was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a White Fern. And yeah, I just obviously watched the game, and it was such a close game, but I guess I didn't know that much about women's cricket then. It was just, for me, that was when I knew I wanted to be a White Fern, so that's pretty special that having that game televised and then winning and doing so well. I think I inspired probably a lot of players my generation to want to play cricket for New Zealand.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that ball went in just, didn't it, Rosie? It's like how you catch it, doesn't need to go in the middle, but as long as it sticks in. But yeah, look, it was such a dream, and I know it's been playing on TV over here for the last wee while. And look, I'll tell you, there's a few absolute legends of New Zealand cricket in that team, and I don't know what's more scary, Rosie. Some are, playing with Emily Drum, Catherine Campbell, and Debbie Hockley, or your job in the police.
Definitely the former. You guys talk about being intimidated by me, but you try going into a dressing room and having just replaced Sarah Illingworth, who was everyone's, favourite person ever, and great wicketkeeper. With Julie Harris, Catherine Campbell, Debbie Hockley, and they were players I really looked up to and was completely terrified of. So it keeps rolling over, doesn't it? But it was a special day, and because of some of those girls, Catherine and Debbie in particular, it was nice to finally. We'd missed out in India a few years earlier, so it was nice to bring it home. It was one of those train wrecks you can't look away from either. So very glad to come out on top in the end. And even though we probably didn't get enough runs, and that's certainly what Em was saying in the changing room in between innings, and she was stomping around pretty grumpy, but got there in the end. And it's what we watched the game, and we've got a Facebook, believe it or not, the entire team is on a Facebook chat. Not everyone's good at Facebook in the team, I'll say that, but so it was just like being in the changing room. The comments were firing around and that sort of thing. And Debbie refused to watch herself back because she said it's horrible. So she went off to mow the lawn. And but then I was looking at it, and I had totally stitched her up by getting out 2 balls after Em got out. And then, we were in the pop, and she just had to stay there and be really dogged. And it was horrible. It was ugly. She was in awful form. She was probably thinking, God, this is going to be the last innings of my career. And I just, I didn't really give her much of a platform, to be honest. So, it was quite interesting watching it in hindsight, thinking, she was such a legend.
You've just debunked the theory. If Emily Drum's ever walking around going, I definitely believed at half time, I told them we were going to get there.
Never.
I imagine it's pretty special when you hear someone like Suzie say that's the reason that she, wanted to become a White Fern. But I even know from a boy's perspective, me and my brother Henry Nicholls, we were on the sideline that day and charged on when you won the final.
Oh, yeah.
I even gave you a high five with the glove. Don't know if you remember that, but I suppose that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. And
say you remember.
I do remember that actually, because it was one of those moments that sticks in your head and plays in slow motion. So I actually do. But that's nice, because I grew up only being able to look at men's cricket, and I was all about Richard Hadley and Lance Cairns and Ian Smith, of course. So it's nice to hear that there was something for the girls to look at. And oh, you must be in there, Willy. Yeah? And amongst all the drums, there's about 50 drums in there. But I was at the MCG just listening to you guys talk to Alyssa earlier, and walking in with, as a tourist, not like in the box like you, Batesy. And it was actually quite emotional to walk in and think, man, this is my game, and you can just come in and this can be your reality as a player amongst 80,000 people. So yeah, it's nice, and it keeps moving forward, which is good.
That's pretty cool. And I suppose, does it seem like a long time ago, or does it, when you bring these photos up now, does it seem like just yesterday?
Yeah, it's funny. It seems not that long ago, and part of that's because some people don't look too different. But also, I don't know, it was just you were so in it, and then we sort of all kept in touch, and then, like I said, with people on the chat and still giving the same banter, the same people were being the smart Alex. But it's one of those things, and we've all got those special games that you do relive quite often, and to see it on TV for the first time in ages. And they also played the semi, and I hadn't seen that, which was quite interesting in India. So yeah, I guess it puts it in perspective that it wasn't a million years ago, but then you think about how far the game's come. So that's the exciting part.
I think it's pretty exciting. I mean, as you'll know, Suze, we've got the World Cup coming here, Home World Cup next year, and it's pretty exciting for probably a number of the youngsters within the White Ferns environment that may have not had the opportunity. Some of them probably weren't even born at that point in time. Nearly probably one of those ones, but to have the opportunity to sort of see players that Suzie and I idolised when we were youngsters, and look, I tell you, when you're sitting out there at Lincoln in the freezing cold and you're lifting in the gym, and you get to look at that and you think, Home World Cup, like how special would that be for 20 odd years later for the White Ferns to lift that at home and in Christchurch. It sort of tingles the spine a wee bit, and it gets you through the winters in Dunedin, doesn't it, Suze?
It's definitely helped the lockdown. I think had we not had the carrot of the Home World Cup, it may have been a bit of a mental battle. But yeah, and I think having that being played on Sky Sport, and I remember watching it when I was young, but watching it now, and lots of those players have coached us or been involved in the game. We hadn't really seen that game, and it just it's so cool that we have that opportunity. So fingers crossed Corona behaves and we get that opportunity sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
everything
it's really
crossed
exciting.
toes.
I'm pretty pumped for it, so yeah, I'm really hoping it stays where it is in terms of timing.
Any advice for them? Any advice for our players who potentially are going to experience a Home World Cup? Did your team manage to feed off playing at home for a tournament like that?
Yeah, it was one of those things. I think any tournament has momentum, but being at home, you are able to feed off it. And the one thing I'd say is expect the unexpected, because something will come up that you weren't expecting, and not just in the final, but along the way, different people emerge and they at the start of the tournament, Helen Watson, for example, she was probably one of the last people picked. She was picked as an all-rounder, but I don't know that she bowled a whole lot, and she sort of batted at 8, but she won that final for us well and truly with 2 spectacular run-outs. And so yeah, there's such an opportunity for those sometimes not unlikely heroes to really shine through, and that's what can get the bigger players, not the bigger, but not big girls, but the more high-profile players, or the ones with more numbers, that can really get them through some of those games. And it just doesn't matter what happened in the last game or what happened the last year or the last World Cup. It just, I guess that's what we showed, is that we've been beaten by Australia so often and so often since. But I actually think we were the better team at the time, and that shone through on the day. And obviously deep down they weren't sure because of how they sort of ended up playing in that game as well. But enjoy would be the other thing, because it's such a cool opportunity for us. I mean, we were sort of, as you guys know, stuck at Lincoln, whereas this is going to be completely countrywide, and some hopefully even get a game in Dunedin. I hear that'd be good for you girls. And just such, yeah, I'm hoping it's a great place to play cricket, but so much more accessible with social media and that sort of thing. And I think, I guess just the world's a bit more diverse these days, and real cool opportunities as women, and also for our culture. And I think we should be showcasing that. And I'm sure the LSE are all over it, but it's just such a cool opportunity from that perspective as well. We're a unique country, so we've got lots to offer.
Love that. Well said, Rosie. Just before you go, in your role as conduct commissioner, have you come across these two players to my left?
No, it's quite ironic. So right at the start, I said I won't do any of the girls, because I probably will have either played with them, roomed with them, or been out socialising with them or something like that. So I said it's just probably not appropriate. And but then also I myself am on the long list of conducts from a long time ago. So you found that too, did you? Yeah,
that's called a counter strike from someone when they know there'll be something they just shoot down. I have actually managed to Catherine Campbell, our operations manager, to get some classified information. And look, I'm just reading here through documents, if you will. It sounds like you might have you've hit a ball up in the air, and you've potentially a lady by the name of Jane Hunter Sue is about to take the catch. You're screaming to the other end, eyes only for the line, or have you changed your line and there's been a clash, and you've been done, I think, for a code of conduct breach around obstructing the field? Or what's your recollection of that as a code of conduct current commissioner?
My very clear recollection is all of that happened, actually, because when you hit a ball in the air and you kind of run, I don't know, sort of run towards it, just maybe to put someone off. I had this helmet on that was too big, and I know it sounds like I was making up some excuses as I go. I didn't see her coming, but it looked horrific. Like, it just looked like I lined her up and mowed her down. She wasn't small either, and it hurt me. And then she took the catch anyway, so I was like, well, hang on.
Wasted energy.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a confession. Playing against the Melbourne Stars, and Katey keeping off hit one straight up, and instead of just getting out of the way and getting down the other end, I just sort of hovered, made it so that the keeper was aware there was people around, and she dropped it, and I thank you for that, Katey.
Hey, no worries.
Well, I mean, you're entitled to get to the other end or not, if you choose. I completely understand why it landed where it did, but I, to this day, honestly did not mean to crash into her, and probably concuss her a little bit, but it was unfortunate. Wellington were pretty grumpy with me. So
have you had any code of conduct with a few of the chat behind the stumps? Because you're pretty, you've got some great banter behind the stumps, and you said what you thought a lot of times, which was brilliant. Have you had a code of conduct around the chat?
No, a couple of times the umpires have raised an eyebrow, to be fair, and often they're grumpy because I'm having a go at them. Not having a go, but sort of maybe giving them some advice. You'll know what I'm talking about, both of you.
As always,
Yeah. But it was funny, in that World Cup was the first time we'd had stump microphones, and we weren't used to it. So I think it picks up quite a bit of banter between me and Catherine Fitzpatrick, who was the second to last wicket we got, and it was this really weird dismissal where she was bowled down the leg side. It just clipped leg stump and the bail fell off. And it was off Catherine Rammell, who I normally keep up to. She's probably about your pace, Batesy. Rapid. And yeah. But I was keeping back because we didn't have many runs to play with. Anyway, so Cam bowls it, flicks the leg stump, and then all of a sudden there's a bail on the ground. And so I walk up and I'm talking to her, and she said, "Did you kick that off?" I said, "Well, I was keeping back, you tall way. How can I? My legs aren't that long." And she said, "Well, I didn't do it." And I said, "Well, how did the bail fall off? It's just been bowled. You're out of here." And picked up a whole lot on. Lucky I didn't swear, but it's a good part of the game. I think you pick your audience a bit with some of the people. I wouldn't do it to some young kind of 17-year-old. unless it was you, Marty, maybe. But I don't think so. What I liked about you is that you had more words than anyone, so it was all on if you were in. So you were quite happy, which was great.
I wish we could find footage of that exchange. And probably the great quote is you've got to have a code of conduct to be able to issue a code of conduct, potentially,
That's
Rebecca.
right.
So, Marty, potentially something for you in the future. Rosie, we really appreciate you joining us today amongst your busy life and joining a couple of your former teammates. And thanks very much for your continued contribution to the game there on the CPA board. And you gave out the player's cap to Sophie Devine a couple of months ago. So, yeah, we really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Good to see you guys again. Hope to see you soon in person. And, yeah, take it easy.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks, Rosie.
Catch you later.
Keep us cat.
Keep that. Love it. You're picking that one up now, Batesy. I like that. Yeah. Love it. Isn't she nice? That was great. Fantastic. I want to get some footage of her. Yeah, her and having a chat with the keeper. Batesy, how are you going down there? Is it getting colder? Have you still got your headphones working?
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't cut out. I've had the heater on since about 6 o'clock in the room, so I'm roasting.
I was telling Willy the story the other day. The girls, like when Manti, like Nick Brown and Macca and that used to play, and Rosie was sort of at the back end of her career, and if you didn't throw within this box, you just let the ball go past, and the girls got too scared to throw it into her, so they just threw it around, and then they got told off for not throwing it in. So, yeah, setting high standards.
Love that. That would have been great to bring up. Well, Batesy, you've been fantastic. I've got you on as an interview, and then you've become an interviewer. That's brilliant.
That's great content. I just that thing you did, like I pretty much when you put that thing with my brother, I was like almost crying, and I wasn't prepared. I was like, I thought it was just gonna be a laugh, and there I was like, oh, what's this? So I'll need to watch that back and not cry because that was beautiful touch.
Oh, nice. I can send it to you separately. Yeah, we rocked you early with the short one, and then you were kind of you're reeling from that moment.
I'll be lucky to print it, otherwise it'd been full works from her.
What's on tomorrow, Batesy? You mentioned you've been training and you're training with the vaults as well. So going back to some more half volleys tomorrow, eh?
I'm going to Clyde. I'm going to see Warren tomorrow. Play some. Well, I might not because it's meant to be snowing, but I was going to go play some golf because we've got a bit of a deload week this week before we go again. So I've got my early in the week. I had a hit today, but yeah, Rob. I was just trying to sort out training, and he just said, "Oh, why don't you just join in with us?" So that was really nice of him. It's been fun actually. There's not that many boys training, but it's kind of like they're just all doing drills, and yeah, it's been good.
And black caps and white ferns also
been working on the clip off the legs.
Yes, the drawback and just. And he told me I finished like a plate, and I finished like on that side, and he's getting me to really get over. Yeah, so I can't wait to give some underarms to Henry.
Yeah. No, well, that's and also you mentioned training with the boys. There's going to be black caps and white ferns camps over this winter as well, so that'll be exciting. We'll all get to see each other. Batesy, I'm going to drop you out because I'm going to go one-on-one with Marty to wrap the podcast. Thank you for joining us from Dunedin. You've been brilliant. We love your work. We hope to see you soon.
It's been great. Thanks for having me. And I'm going to go watch My Kitchen Rules. It's been something I've really got into, and they've waited. My sister and her boyfriend have waited for me, so I will go and enjoy that.
Fantastic. We'll catch you later, Batesy.
See you, Bates.
Thanks, guys. It's been great. See you guys. Yeah. Great job.
See you soon. Thank you. And that's what happens, we just suck people into the show, Marty, They think they're going to be an interviewee, and then they're an interviewer, and then they miss My Kitchen Rules. It's all part of that. I haven't got too much really left. You got any thoughts so far on the interviews, how things have gone? How have you felt? What are you enjoying?
No, I thought it was good. I thought Midge was really good. She's a good, relaxed character, and got some. Start. Yeah, look, well, that's what I get that all the time from her. So she's that. But no, it was, it was good. I think, Susie's got a great nature about her. So when she sort of talks, it's quite warm. It's quite warming. Comes across as quite warm. So no, it's been good. there's so much stuff you could just yarn about. You know, I could have given, like Rosie and I could have yarned about a whole lot of stuff, but yeah, no, it was good.
So much to get through, so little time. Well, don't be thinking that is the last thing that I've got, because if you think Batesy got caught off guard, then I'm going to try and absolutely shoot a late bouncer to you in the show here. Just make sure your volume's on loud. I want you to be able to hear this.
Hi, Katey. It's Dad here. Your mother and I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you that we are so proud of what you've achieved, not just with your cricket, but in your career and with your life. You've always been interested in sport right from an early age, but who would have thought that playing out the front of the Ethorns' house on Calder Street with their 5 boys would lead to a long career in cricket. It only seems like yesterday when we dropped you off at Lincoln to start at the New Zealand Cricket Academy. We are so proud of how brave you were, considering you wouldn't go on school camps with one of us being there. As a true Blue Otagoite, we are so thrilled to see you continuing to represent Otago despite living in Christchurch. As we agreed, never wear the red and black. That was always a must. Mum and I have had so much enjoyment from following your cricket. Getting to see you play firsthand across New Zealand and the world has been a joy for us. It even got Mum to the UK and Europe. That's a miracle. My most special time, though, would have to be going to India to follow you on your first tour. And while I'd missed your debut and your one and only test, being there with you will be a memory that always stays with me. We love you so much, Katey, and hope that we can have a few more memories still. I mean, I would miss getting up when you go out to bat and rotating round the boundary trying to keep away from people, nervously talking you through every shot and hoping that you won't get out. You're a special young lady, loyal, caring, loving and kind. We love you for who you are, the role model that you have become, and the loving daughter that you are to us. And Mum, who I know is staying with you at the moment, wanted me to say that you're still Mum's favourite.
Oh, that's pretty special. Dad, he does, whenever I bat, he gets straight up and he walks around and he always counts the runs. And I remember it was my first 100 I scored for Otago in Central Otago, and he was on the sideline and he was desperate for me to get 100, and saw him put his hand up, 5 runs to go. And I thought, because those days we didn't have the scoreboard, and I'd got the 100 and the girls had not celebrated, because at that time you had to go through the scorecard on the phones when we were allowed phones, and he was desperate because he was like, what's going on? You've scored your 100. But yeah, it's pretty special. Dad was on my first tour to India, and I was sort of got picked a bit more as for the development of it, and I played a warm-up game in a 2-day game against the Indian selection team, and Mike Shrimpton at the time, who was the coach, said, you probably won't play that many games and you won't play the test match, but it's a great experience and soak it all in. And I'm an 18-year-old coming from Dunedin, and my first year, as Dad said, I struggled a wee bit through my teens, staying away from home. But yeah, went to India, and it was just an unbelievable experience, and ended up scoring some runs in the warm-up game and playing in the test match. And obviously that's his biggest regret, not seeing me for that. But yeah, it was pretty special having him over in India, my first tour, and he's pretty much been to every tour since. And I'm very grateful for what Mum and Dad do for me. And yeah, it's sort of partly the reason why I keep sticking around is obviously making the family proud.
No, it's great stuff, Marty. And he mentioned there playing with the Ethorns out on the front lawn, similar sort of to Bates and her brothers. That vivid memories for you as a youngster?
Yeah, I don't think the grass has grown out the front by all accounts. It's still there's still the 2 patches from when we first started, and yeah, I've broken a few windows around there. But the Ethorn boys were brilliant for me, and that's what got me into cricket. And I've sort of played with the boys all the way through my career, and they've Sean Ethorn went on to play for the Volts, and and the other boys have been great at club cricket over in Dunedin. So I'm really grateful for those guys to keep me in cricket, and I'm very lucky to have them around. David and Anne-Marie Ethorn come over to the World Cup in Australia with Mum and Dad recently, and had an absolute ball. And you sort of see them on the sideline and you lose, and they're still proud as punch that you're still playing this time on. So I'm very grateful for the support from friends and family.
That's probably one of the cooler things about cricket, and I suppose about any sport, isn't it? When you you look at a lot of your friend groups, and it's even, like myself, who haven't played professionally, but then you guys who do play professionally, you do build up a great kind of network, and you realise that so many of your most special memories and special friends have been brought through sport. So, yeah, I'm glad that your dad mentioned there in his thing that tour to India, which it sounds like he was actually on his own Kentucky tour, just taking the trains and everything while you guys were on the team bus. Steve Martin, you're a legend. Big shout out. What are your recollections of touring India?
Yeah, Dad come. We stayed at this one place, it was a castle, and we'd got down. He'd travel with us on some of our buses, and we went downstairs the morning to go to training, and there was this cricket ball. And we were like, what's that cricket ball doing? And it was literally a bus shaped as a cricket ball. So it was amazing. But yeah, first tour to India coming from Dunedin was pretty special. And there was a few eye-opening moments. I was fortunate to play the last test the only one that's played a test. And I hear that from Suzie a lot, but I don't think her old body will get through a test match, the old girl. But it was pretty, we played at Vapi, and it was owned by a guy that owned this big ink company in India. And we'd gone through on the bus, on the old cricket ball bus out to the ground, and it was just incredible. And there was a helicopter pad there, and halfway through the game, the helicopter would land on the helipad for him to come and watch our game. And at the end of the game, we ended up drawing, and I think Dan Vittori back in his day, he won a car as a prize for player of the day, and there was a video of him going around in the car trying to fit a lot of the boys in the car, and in our game we had a car that was for the player of the day, and the Indian girl got the player of the day, and we're all there on the ground, and we're all roped off, and the full crowd, 15,000, were on the field, and we said, don't sign an autograph. Whatever you do, don't sign an autograph. And well, what happens? One of the youngsters signed an autograph, and next thing you know, the ropes are down, and we're getting crowded, and Indians absolutely loving it. They're such a passionate, you're so passionate and absolutely love cricket. And we're off running back into the changing room, and we're locked in the changing room for a couple of hours while the pitch was invaded by the crowd wanting to get a piece of the action. So yeah, it's sort of one of those things that you get when you're playing in there, and it was something that I'll never forget. So I don't think we've had a pitch invasion since. So apart from the 2000 World Cup, probably.
Yeah, fingers crossed for no more. The cricket ball car, what's that? Is that somewhere like your team bus was a cricket ball? Or... Yeah,
team bus was shaped as a cricket ball. So it was literally, and it had the seams and everything like that. And it was an absolute dream. So we got up in the bus, and the bus driver was so happy. He's like, look, cricket ball, I've given you girls a cricket ball bus. So it's the one and only time I've ever seen a bus shaped as a cricket ball, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to try and get hold of that. That's great stuff. But I was actually just thinking about your dad, because the first time I met him was actually out at Lincoln. And I wasn't even sure if he was your dad, really, because he was literally was not watching you bat. And I was like, well, sure, he can't be related to Marty. And I also probably came in real hot and hard early, like, oh, yeah, mate, I'm from Canterbury, I'm up here, da-da-da-da. And he literally does not like cantabs.
Well, Dad coached, he was part of Otago Rugby for a very long time. He coached the Otago Rugby team, and he says he'll tell the story that he's had the Ranfurly Shield in the bag a couple of times until about the 75th minute, and Canterbury sunk our heart for many a times. And he's as I say, my blood's blue and gold, and I get that a lot from Dad. He sort of said, as he said in the video, he said he'd disown me if I ever played for Canterbury. So I've been in Christchurch for probably 15 odd years now, and absolutely love playing for Otago. And I tell you what, you would not get me in a Canterbury top, unfortunately, for the Cantabs. But he's blue and gold through and through. And he actually got nicknamed Stone Cold Steve Martin, and because as you'll see, he's of the ginger elk, and Stone Cold is a wrestler in the WWE, and very similar resemblance, although probably his waistline's a bit bigger than old Stone Cold Steve Austin's.
Well, good shout out to Steve Martin for helping us with that. Also, Henry Bates putting together the Bates tribute. And our guests tonight, we've had some good ones. Alyssa Healey, Rebecca Rolls, quite a keeping theme if you include Suzy Bates. And also a big thank you to you, Marty, stepping into Trent Bolt's shoes. You've done great. It's been really enjoyable. Thanks for helping me out.
No, I've loved it. I tell you what, though, I felt like I was sort of a bit, the pedigree was quite high, and then we've got us two here. So we've had Olympians, world champions, and just us two along the way. So it's been pretty special to be a part of.
The thing you got to remember at this stage of the show, no one's still staying online, so we're absolutely fine. It's just you and me here. Well, that wraps up the NZC Cast episode 2. We've got fingers crossed we'll get some more episodes. We can see the likes of Marty and Bolty and the rest of the crew on here. But from us, that's the end of the broadcast. We still haven't got a sting, but over and out. We'll catch you later. Cheers, Marty.
See you, Willy.